Hi there. We're going to look at creatively blending two images. This is based on a video I've found on YouTube, which I just wanted to simplify and strip out some of the more unnecessary parts, just to speed things up a bit. I've got a folder on the shared folder with all these images in for you. I want to start off by unlocking my background layer, which is this street image. I'm going to create a blank layer behind it, so I hit the plus and dragged it underneath. I'm just going to use Control and minus to zoom out a little bit, because I want to stretch this image and make it a little bit taller than it is. To do that, I'm going to click on the cropping tool, which should be over here on the left. Grab the handle at the top and increase it. I think I'm just about doubling the height there, and then click the check button to OK it. Now we need to recreate this bit of sky in the top. So to do that, we're going to use Content Aware Fill. So I'm selecting the thumbnail of the road. I'm just going to select slightly more than the empty bit, so I'm just overlapping ever so slightly. And then we're going to go to Edit, Content Aware Fill. What this tool does, it uses I think it uses artificial intelligence or something, machine learning, to figure out how to replace the background. You see automatically it's done a pretty good job, but here it's got a green selection which shows where it's deciding to sample from, and I can look in here and see it's actually using pieces of the hill, which I don't want to use. So if I just draw over this, if you look in the middle of that cursor, see it's got a little minus button in there. I can just unselect the bits I don't want it to be sampling from, and it updates automatically over here. And see, that's a pretty good job already. It's also a great tool for removing people out of images. So we can apply that, because I'm happy with that. Click OK and it will close that dialog. And if I do Control D, it will deselect. Now what it's actually made is, if I turn off my original photo, it's made this as a separate piece. And ideally I want them to join them together. So I'm just going to hold down Shift and select those two, and rather than merging them down, we're going to convert it to a smart object, which does the same thing. It looks like it's merged down, but we can go back in there and tweak it at a later date if we need to. Next we want to bring in, by doing Place Embedded, our swimmer picture, which again is in the folder. Probably want to scale her up a bit, so I'm going to hold down Alt and grab it from the corner. If you hold down Alt, it scales up from the center. I'm just going to turn opacity down a little bit, just so I can see how big she is. I want her just fitting in, maybe there, maybe a little bit smaller. I think a bit smaller still. There's good. I'm going to use the center line. See, that's pink center line, tells me I'm in the middle. Now I'm going to ignore that. I don't want a head crossing over onto the road. So I'm going to click OK. Turn my opacity back up. Use Control and plus to zoom back in, so I can see her properly. These images are all on Pixabay, I think. Right, I'm going to use the Quick Selection tool. Should be over here on the left. If you can't see it, hold down right click and it'll be hidden away under there. Use the square brackets to increase and reduce the size of the selection tool. You can change it there if you're so inclined. Left click and just draw over her head and shoulders. That's probably good enough. If we wanted to improve the selection, we could hit select and mask and then use the refine edge tool. It's really not necessary for this picture because she's so tiny, but we'll do a proper job anyhow. That's fine. So click OK, and we've got her selected, and then we're going to hit the mask button down here to drop out the background. So far so good. Right, I want to increase the amount of water around her, so I'm going to select the mask, thumbnail over here. I'm going to pick up a soft brush. I was using a splatty brush last time, so I just want a softish one. I'm going to use the square brackets to make it bigger. Now, here's one of these things that shows up all the time. My brush is actually massive, so I can't see it. So I'm going to keep pressing the minus until the thing actually shows up. The other thing that sometimes happens when you can't see a brush, if caps lock's on, see it turns into a little cross. Right, so white reveals, black conceals. So we want to change our foreground colour to white. So we hit this little two-headed arrow, and then we can draw in some water. Just kind of about that much is fine. Right, then we want to duplicate this layer to make another copy of it. To do that, we hold down left click, drag the layer down to the plus button, and we make a second copy. And this one, we want to change its blend mode to hard light. So we click on here and choose hard light. Then we're going to click onto its mask and just draw out a little bit further. And see if it's a little bit darker around there, which is what we want. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. And we want to turn its opacity down a bit to make it a bit more see-through. So we're going to change opacity over here down to about 65. 65, there we are on the nosy. And see how it's kind of showing through a little bit more. Makes it look a little bit more natural. Right, next we want to stick both these into a folder because we want to affect them both at the same time. And if they're in a folder, we can do that. So I'm going to shift select them both, right click, and choose where's it gone? It's got to be here somewhere. Where's it gone? Frame. Maybe we can just hit the folder icon. That worked. I'll do that again. I was sure there was a folder option. Maybe I've dreamt it. Convert to smart object, convert to linked. Maybe not. So, select them both, hit the folder icon, and then we've got a group. Right, and next we want to add a hue saturation adjustment layer. So we're going to click on the adjustment layer and add hue saturation, and this will pop up. We need to click the clipping button here, otherwise it's going to adjust the colors of everything below this as well, and we only want it to adjust the stuff in the group. Click on where it says master here and choose cyan, and then grab the saturation bar and drag it down, and you see it pulls all that cyan color out of it. Then we click on this and do blue, do the same thing, pulls even more of that out, which is good. Right, so we need to select our road, which is already a smart object. If it wasn't, you could convert it to one. And then we're going to go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. I've got it set to 4.7. Try about 4. That's okay. That, and see all the background is now blurred. We don't want the whole back. I can't speak today. We don't want all the background blurred. We just want a little bit of it. So because we're using a smart object, we've got a filter mask here, which is nice and selectable, and it's white, so that's white reveals. So we want to conceal. So I'm going to select black, get a soft brush, make it a little bit bigger using the square bracket, and I'm just going to draw in a bit of a mask to reduce the blur off this kind of foreground area. And I think we'll leave it there. So we can save out one of those as an image. Thank you for watching. Stop.